Welcome, everyone. I'm here with His Excellency Ziad Fariz, Governor of the Central Bank of Jordan. And I want to thank you, Your Excellency, for taking time for this interview. This will help the King's Academy community and those outside of our community to learn and grow in this particular moment and know best how to engage in a constructive way. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused, as you well know, considerable disruption to virtually every industry, and the financial and monetary ramifications of this have been significant. So, Your Excellency, for our student audience, I wonder if you would first begin simply by sharing what is the role of the central bank in a time like this. Let's start there.
Yeah. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for inviting me to share with you what we are doing now in dealing with this big challenge that's facing Jordan, like most other, the whole world actually. Mm-hmm. So I will start by saying, number one, let's understand what's the role of the central bank in a normal situation and how this role is changing as world is changing all the time. Basically, the central bankers are involved in monetary policy that is in line with the overall economic policy, watching the economy, making sure that prices are not increasing and inflation is not going to be high all the time, making sure that liquidity is sufficient to meet the demand in the market, making sure that stability in the money market is there. Central bank usually deals and supervises and regulates the banking system, basically, and financial institutions, and make sure that the banking system is enjoying a healthy parameters in terms of liquidity, in terms of prudent and proper management of the money, making sure that the ability of the banking system, the resilience of the banking system is always there by having enough capital, making sure the policy is in the right direction. Of course, there's our international rules. Now the central bank intervene when you feel that there's a disruption in the market, that something happening that will affect the households, will affect the investment, affect the financial sector. So either he goes and inject liquidity in the market through various instruments that is used by the central bank, or suck liquidity from the market when he feels that liquidity is high and it's going to cause inflationary pressure.
So the central bank serves as an organization that sets the guardrails, really, for the banking industry.
Yes.
And in doing that, it creates parameters, or it creates a context. It nudges the economy one way or another through setting the terms by which financial transactions take place. And therefore, sorry, just when a moment of crisis happens, or when the system is irregular, that is when it takes more dramatic steps or changes the guardrails a little bit so that the economy begins to act in a slightly different way that hopefully will bring it towards health.
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
One key instrument of the central bank is interest rate. Its ability to use interest rate policy to affect the liquidity in terms of slowdown of the economy. It relaxes interest rate in terms of feeling that there's a heat in the economy and inflationary pressure will come. Now, in this particular case, and Central Bank of Jordan has been effective in many crises that we have witnessed. Economic crisis, financial crisis throughout the years. And we interfered by injecting liquidity using interest rate policy, and of regulating the banks, making sure that the credit is going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, within market forces, no administrative procedure is taking place. This time, this crisis is not economic, it's not financial, it's health.
Fascinating.
And it's affecting everybody. And of course, the economic aspect of it is far deeper than any other crisis that we have met.
So whereas in previous financial crises, it has been something in the financial sector has led to the overvaluation or undervaluation of something. In this case, however, it's a health issue first and foremost. And the subsequent financial and economic crises are a downstream result of the health crisis, not anything underlying the financial policies.
You are absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm.
So the direct impact of this crisis that and it's all over the world. Both supply, production has dropped down. Mm-hmm. So no more work. And of course, demand is also dropping down, and it's happening for the first time, where demand and supply usually they have a different move. This time, both of them, they went down, and this is the challenge for everybody, the government, the central banks. So there should be an intervention, and strong intervention, to meet this situation. From the one hand, we have to make sure that people that they lost their work, they are able to meet their liabilities, their needs, and the relationship with the banking system. And for the business, particularly small business and sometimes big business that stopped, we have to make sure that they can at least be able to serve the current needs, including paying wages for their labor. Also, we have those who are working for themselves, individuals. They go day by day. They are daily workers. We have to we have to care about them.
So what you're saying before is that in this particular moment, you mentioned before different kinds of guardrails that the central bank can put on the industry and on the banking sector. But at this particular moment, what we have is there's a decrease in demand because people can't go to businesses. And so businesses are earning less revenue. With less revenue, they can't pay the employers, the workers. So the workers have less revenue because they're not getting paid, which means there's less demand. So everything shrinks, the economy constricts as a result.
Yes.
So in this moment, instead of changing the guardrails, what is needed is everybody needs cash. The businesses need cash, the workers need cash. And it's that injection of liquidity, of cash, that will help spur the market.
Absolutely. We did make sure that liquidity is available for everybody. And of course, during the curfew, people were at home, all of them, and we have to allow banks to provide services. Fortunately, in Jordan, electronic banking is a growing business, but I have to admit that the challenges are big. And one important development is becoming clear now: the development of digital services.
I was just going to say, actually,
and they are doing very well. So now payment system is taking place. So we are encouraging that in the central bank.
Your Excellency, I wonder if, as we think about the audience for this, we have 630 students who are thinking about next steps for their lives in regards to opportunities for showing leadership at this particular time. They want to be involved, they want to be a part of the solution. I know many of our students are at home participating in online learning, but wishing they could be more connected to other people and more involved in what's happening around them. As you think about their next steps, they may not be people who are participating at the economic policy level or at the financial or monetary policy level, but what advice would you give to them as leaders? As you think about the ways in which you have engaged this moment and made decisions in this moment, what lessons have you learned that you would share with young students as they think about setting out on their next steps?
I wish I can do that. I feel that this is a responsibility. Our young future leader, they are the future leader. They are our future. And I think what I can say from my point, that they have to look into what we were thinking before Corona and what is going to be the new world after Corona. We have to rethink of what we have been doing, what was our priorities, and what are going to be new priorities. This very difficult lesson that we are living in is not only for our children, our future, our young people, but for us, everybody now, young and old, man, woman, should rethink again of the priorities and to reevaluate, I would say, from his point of view, the meaning of so many things that we were doing in the past, and how we can live probably in some new priorities that is now clearly more important and more essential for our very existence. There are so many things that we could live without and not very important. And we have to evaluate its impact on our life, and what are the new ways that we need to meet our challenges? What are the new instruments that we have to meet the challenges? Life is going to be more difficult. It's not an easy life anymore for everybody, but we're going to live, and we're going to continue working and living, but probably there is new priorities. Staying at home for a month or so is a big lesson for everybody. There are so many things we used to think that it is important. We are not doing it now, and we don't feel it. We're not missing it, actually, because we have new things to think about the future. So I think I'm sure my son, my daughter are asking the same questions, and we have to ask the right question now. What's the meaning of all this? This is what I can say now.
Thank you. There's the future that we imagined and the priorities that we had, and there is a new future now, and it is different from what we imagined. In our priorities, we might see our former priorities in a new light, and that might lead us to set new and different priorities.
Absolutely.
That's a good thing for us to be thinking about. Your Excellency, thank you so much. I know
Thank you.
This is a busy time, and I appreciate the time that you took for this interview. And I know our students and and participants are grateful. Thank you.
My best regards to every one of them, and I wish them good health and happiness. Thank you very much.
Thank you.